r/TwoXChromosomes. Foring Flower says. A short rant about the state of online dating and misogyny. I recently ended up a long-term relationship and started online dating to see what is out there. I was very excited at first, but unfortunately, I'm not anymore. I'm shocked at the sheer amount of anti-feminist young men in the platform. Young men openly following Andrew Tate, believing that men are oppressed and that the feminist movement wants to end masculinity. While these young men don't see themselves as misogynist, which they are, they have said things to me such as, men and women are not equal and shouldn't be. Masculinity is being erased. Andrew Tate's philosophy is good, but he should go a bit easier on the anti-women stuff. I've been lucky enough to find out about their ideas through Instagram, as I sometimes post feminist content that they feel compelled to reply to, even when they haven't watched the whole video. While it's only my personal experience, I feel like we are seeing a big pushback against the social progress that has occurred in the last decades. In response, I wanted to encourage all of you to post feminist content, to ask your dates about their opinions, and especially to not date or frick misogynists. Stay safe out there. CanPig9 says. The idea that women are people. That should not be such a radical idea to so many. The Homie Data says. It's so disappointing and enraging to see the state of young men today. They're an embarrassing mockery of all the progress I thought we were making as a whole. I thought that it was always the next generation's responsibility to show us how much more we could have done. Why the frick am I, a goddamn 33-year-old laborer, teaching the youngsters in my shop that the old smile and half nod to acknowledge human beings' presence is the bare minimum? Everything is so binary to them. They truly do not comprehend spending time with a woman if they are not attracted to them and trying to frick them. Everything they say is so dehumanizing, and they'll look at you like you're crazy for the face of horror you make after they openly call a woman high value. Like, dude, what the frick is wrong with you? But nothing melts my brain more than this woke misogyny you hear from them. They'll feign progressive ideals to you in one breath and resume listening to their Jordan Peterson podcast in the next. They'll point fingers at countries openly slaughtering women for religious ideals because that's where it went too far, as if extremism was this overpass leap and not the culmination of every choice to not make a big deal about it. I can't tell if it's just confirmation bias I'm experiencing, but it truly does feel like this Tate Shapiro Peterson generation of men is a dramatic step backwards in the worst way. Schumer 1979 says. I'm a 43-year-old male, not really up to date with the people younger guys follow. I really have to say how disappointed I am that people like Tate get a platform to say the things he does. I really don't understand how younger guys aren't shouting him down. I thought we had made progress, and yet people like him exist and get a platform to spread absolute shit. Please do stand up to people like him. There should be no place for people like him and people who believe the rubbish he says in this world. The Mighty Raisin says. I think a lot of younger guys get frustrated with the current state of online dating and turn to people like Tate because they think he has the answers to why they aren't getting ahead in life. Moist_decadence says. Totally. When they don't find success with women or elsewhere, they feel worthless. And I think part of Tate's straw was that he told them as much. They liked being called a worthless piece of shit by Tate because that's how they saw themselves. They felt seen and were more open to the rest of his message since he was the only one who was willing to validate their feelings of inadequacy. Green Collection 968 says. Andrew Tate's philosophy is good, but he should go a bit easier on the anti-women stuff. That is. Just be quieter about what they all believe in to make it more palatable for the typical rando. r/TwoXChromosomes. Sweet Loving Whispers says. Rape is not a joke. Since my original post was removed by the mods, I figured I would just come right out and talk about it. Rape is not a joke. Rape is being taken way too lightly in social media. Jokes made about it, and then it is brushed off as good fun, are just infuriating. Rape is frequently being brought up in the media, like it is a normal thing that can be overlooked or laughed at. It is transparent that the victims dealing with the excruciating trauma are being mocked and ridiculed. 500 Cats Typing Stuff says, bigots and misogynists love to use the excuse that it was just a joke. Defense attorney says, I struggled with this recently. The new Adult Swim new log program, which is expected to be unpredictable and edgy, begins with a straight up rape and murder, with no indication that it's coming. Again, unpredictable and edgy. Taken at face value, Adult Swim programs are expected to be funny. And this one led off with the worst kind of content, in my opinion. I don't get it. r/TwoXChromosomes. Diaphoticity says, what are some good feminist podcasts / channels on it? Every time I search for podcasts centered on feminism, the algorithm directs me to men whining about feminism. Efficiency Popular 141 says, FD Signifier is fantastic at breaking stuff down like the manosphere and has plenty of 1 hour plus long videos. I also watch Pop Culture Detective, who analyzes movies and shows from a feminist's perspective. Minally isn't centered around feminism, but she makes fantastic videos on the history of fashion and the influence things like feminism has had. These are all channels. I don't really do podcasts, my tiny brain needs visuals. Demoldbone says, American Hysteria isn't necessarily feminist based, but a lot of her content skews towards looking at the real reason for big issues, and, spoiler alert, lots of it is due to misogyny. That being said, as much as I love the content, you may find, like I do, that her way of speech and intonation is annoying as hell, so I don't listen as much as I'd like. Miraclexel says, in no particular order, Tinoir, Kadijimbo, Shanspierre, Tara McNee, Monica Hernandez. Apple Dev says, I like Financial Feminist by her first 100k. The podcast is available on it, Spotify and Apple Podcast. r/TwoXChromosomes. Ashley Banks hit single says, Incels think all women have attention and adoration on demand. I notice on here sometimes that women will complain that the modern misogynists of our time will claim that all women can just have their choice on dating platforms or get constant validation from men online. Women will point out that this isn't true in the slightest and that only a small handful of very attractive women receive this kind of attention and privilege. I wanted to raise the idea that these men know that, but continue to complain about it because they believe that all men are better than all women and are annoyed that an elite woman seems to be doing better than them, since even at their best, a woman is worse than any man in their mind. They will complain about female privilege, no matter how small a group of women are receiving it, because they are galled that any one of the lesser sex would have an advantage over them. Just a thought, but I wanted to put it out for discussion in this group, since I see this issue raised a lot here but never this angle, and I love the discourse in this sub. Daddy Good Hands says, I think you're spot on for some of them, but for others, I'm not so sure that they believe that all men are better than all women, paresi, but that they complain about female privilege because they themselves aren't receiving attention from the person they are enamored with. Cursed Helm 5 says, there are basically splinter groups from what I see online. There are the Andrew Tate types that see women as inferior and will always bash on successful women as they see them as nothing more than child bearers and servants. There are also the typical incels though that get hostile with successful or forward-speaking women as they see them as people who can receive the attention that they themselves cannot, like someone previously here said. Dangerlum says, I have never been able to straight up ask a man that I was attracted to for sex and get it. Men are always shocked to hear this. Women have to play the game just as much as men do. It's really not that easy to just get laid. There has to be a build-up point, flirting, sexual tension, timing of responses, etc. It's a lot of work. I've actually blown my chances with a few guys cause I got impatient and just asked for sex. Then I got the well I like the chase spiel lol. I mean sure you can probably go up to a creep/perv and ask for sex and get it, but is that really a win? That's all for this video. Was it good? I know not, for I'm a robot. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. This video is the product of an automated process.